Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 771A, and today's date is September 21st, 2015, and the title of this episode is A Full-Blown Global Economic Crisis is Headed Our Way. Let's get right into the economic collapse financial news. Now, we know out in Europe, the economy in Europe is going down the toilet at this point, and I know a lot of the countries like Spain, France, Portugal, Italy are continually telling their people that everything's going to be fine, unemployment's going to be getting better, youth unemployment's going to be going down, we're going to pay off the debt. And they've been saying this for quite a while now. Actually, if we go back to 2012 to 2013, President Hollande in France continually said this, and finally the people said, you know something, it's enough. We don't believe you anymore because it's been all this time and unemployment has gotten worse, the debt has gotten larger, youth unemployment has increased, and we don't see any improvements right now. Actually, Moody's came out right now, and they are citing continuing weakness in the medium-term growth outlook, and they downgraded France from A2 from AA1, and they do not expect the debt burden to be materially reduced this decade. Think about that. Actually, it's never going to be reduced because as time goes on, this situation is going to get much, much worse. Here in the United States, layoffs are continuing. Johnson Controls Inc., 3,000 salaried employees. Triple Crown Services, 200. BAE Systems Shipyard, Norfolk, Virginia, 650 people. The situation is not getting better. The corporate media can spin this any way they want. But when we look at these hard facts, let's take, for example, Caterpillar. They're telling us we're in this recovery. The worst is behind us. We had 2008. The Fed stepped in, created all this money, and now everything is fine. The stock market's very high. Well, Caterpillar is doing absolutely awful. Once again, they are in negative territory across the board. They are down another 11% in August, and they've been contracting for 33 consecutive months. This is not a recession. In fact, the nearly 3-year consistent contraction, the longest negative stretch in company history, is beyond what most economists would deem a depression. It is a total collapse of the entire system. During the Great Recession of 2008, Caterpillar had 19 months of terrible, terrible sales. And then all of a sudden, when the Fed came out, started to create money in 2010, their sales increased. And it peaked around 2011 to the end of 2011. And ever since, we've been sliding down until we hit about 2013. And when we hit 2013, it all went to negative. And this shows us that the world economies, they're not doing well. They're actually falling apart. Even here in the United States, Caterpillar has been laying off thousands upon thousands of people. And of course, the corporate media, the government. Remember Obama out there in 2013 in August in Phoenix, Arizona, telling us that we're in this housing recovery? Well, you know, they manipulated everything. They put everything in place where the hedge funds, investment companies, foreign investors came in with free money, purchased as many houses as they possibly could, held on to them, rented them if they could. If not, they held on to them. The Fed told the banks, listen, do not release the foreclosures. We're trying to drive these prices up, so keep them on your books. If people have to still live there, let them live there mortgage free, as long as they take care of the properties. And since that time, they've been telling us that we're in this housing recovery, prices are skyrocketing, everything is fine. Well, it's starting to fall apart. But we knew this. We knew because we looked back in time and we saw that they laid off all these people in the mortgage departments, tens of thousands of people going back to 2013. We saw this year that prices of houses reached the peak and now they're starting to decline. Housing sales were taking longer and longer to occur. Traffic was drying up. And right now, existing home sales in August plunged to 4.8%. 4.8% down. The most since January, when they said it was the bad weather. Well, August was beautiful weather. And this is the hot season, no pun intended, for the summer months, when people go out and purchase homes. This is the third biggest monthly collapse since the financial crisis. The West was down 7.8% month on month. The South, 6.6% month on month. So what does this tell us? The housing market is imploding on itself. Mortgage applications are down. Lumber prices are down. Home furnishing stores, construction equipment, all in the negative. It's starting now. But don't worry, my friend from the National Association for Realtors, Lawrence Yun, who I like to refer to, the chief economist, says that home sales in August lost some momentum to close out the summer. Sales activity was down in many parts of the country last month, especially in the South and West, as the persistent summer theme of tight inventory levels likely deterred some buyers. The good news for the housing market is that the price appreciation in the last 2 months has started to moderate from the unhealthier rate of growth seen earlier this year. Translation: people are not going out to purchase homes. Traffic is drying up. And the unhealthy growth means that prices are really starting to fall because people are not looking. So people are bringing their prices down. I mean, he always comes out with these ridiculous statements that are never correct. Go back to October 11th, 2007. The speculative excess have been removed from the market and home sales are returning to fundamentally healthy levels. While prices remain near record highs, the housing market is going to see growth. Really? Well, I hate to say this, but the year of 2008, housing was absolutely awful. Actually, it collapsed. So he's telling us again that everything is going to be fine. But we're seeing a complete collapse in the market. Remember, whatever they say, it's the opposite. They're not telling us what's really going on. They're telling us these ridiculous stories, these manipulated numbers, to make us believe that everything is fine. Well, this is far from it. I mean, actually, back in 2008 in the winter, he came out with a statement saying that housing is going to improve during that winter. Did it? No, it didn't. Housing is not going to improve from this point on. It's only going to get worse. And when I look around the country, I see that housing prices are dropping. Traffic is drying up. People have their homes on the market longer and longer. This is the beginning. It's starting to spread to every single area. Now, some areas it's going to take a little bit longer to get there. We've seen this before. This is nothing new, but it will spread everywhere. And the housing market, the retail market, it is all falling apart. Actually, Ray Dalio looked at performance of the all-weather fund, which is highly correlated with 6-month forward world growth. And guess what? U.S. profit growth has never been this weak outside of a recession. So wait a minute. We're in a recovery right now, but U.S. profit growth is so bad, and they've never seen it like this when we weren't in a recession. So that tells you that we're most likely in a recession. Actually, we're probably in a depression at this point in time. And when he looked at all this, he concluded that the recent weak performance would suggest global growth 6 months from now will be running nearly 2% below its already reduced potential. Most likely it's going to be lower than that. In other words, a global economic contraction. And we heard this from Citi on their base case for 2016 that everything is going to be falling apart. Global earning momentum has plummeted from a respectable 47% in May this year to recessionary 32% last week. What is this telling us? It's telling us we are collapsing. This is what's happening at this point. Jim Rogers is saying he's predicting complete turmoil with a full-blown crisis in global markets. There's no other way around this. It's going to be a complete disaster. Martin Armstrong, Thursday's decision to delay yet again the long-awaited liftoff from zero interest rates is illustrating that the world economy is totally screwed. The Fed is also caught between domestic policy objectives that dictate they must raise rates or they will bankrupt countless pension funds. The Fed has encouraged government to spend far more than they realize because money is cheap. This will eventually light the fire under the economy, helping to fuel the sovereign debt crisis. There appears to be no hope for the Fed, and they will be forced to raise rates only when they see asset inflation in equities. They'll have no choice. This is the worst possible mess, and the longer they've waited to normalize interest rates, the worse the total crisis is becoming, for they will have zero control over the economy, and once this happens, holy hell will break loose. And that's what's going to happen. This entire system is going to come completely down. And we're moving towards that. I mean, look at the stock market. Friday, we were down 200 plus points. Today, the high-frequency plunge protection team tried to push the market up. They're doing whatever they possibly can to keep things in recovery mode. I should say the illusion of recovery. Because they don't want this to come down. And if it's going to come down, they want it on their terms. But again, we could see a black swan. We can see anything occur where they completely lose control and the whole thing comes crumbling down. This is why I'm saying everyone needs to be prepared at this time. I mean, will it happen tomorrow? I don't know. But we've been looking at these indicators and we see that we're getting closer and closer. You don't want to wait for the last minute to say, you know what, I better go out there and get my food and water. And then the next day, the whole thing collapses and you don't have everything you need. So if you're continually out there, just add some more cans of food, more toiletries when you go shopping, take out some more cash, purchase some more gold and silver, or I shouldn't even say purchase, exchange your cash for precious metals. That's all you're really doing. If you haven't started, you can go to lifereliance.com. They have water filtration system, food, you can customize whatever you need. Seeds, bug out bags, lifereliance.com. They have what you need and they can do it all at once. And we can see at this point in time that there are more and more people coming out saying this cannot stay the way it is. We're coming to that point where things are completely falling apart. And we're seeing it all around the world, especially here. And after this holiday season, if we make it that far, it's going to be even worse. We're going to see more stores close down. We're going to see more people foreclosing on homes. And what are they going to do? Create more money? It doesn't work. We have proof of that. Now, Russia, they understand what's coming. They've been purchasing gold. They've increased their gold holdings, and it has risen to 42.4 million troy ounces from 41.4 million troy ounces. We see China's doing it, Kazakhstan's doing it, Belarus is doing it. The United States, I don't see any information that the United States government central bankers are purchasing gold. Actually, we're getting information that there is no gold, and JP Morgan Chase is one delivery away from having no gold whatsoever. And we can see that this tidal wave of a complete collapse scenario is headed our way. And everyone needs to be ready. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.